If you don't count the controversial 2009 season in which they had to forfeit due to an insurance violation, the last time the Sioux Falls Storm failed to advance to the championship game of their league was in 2003. This year, that seems like a possibility, with Sioux Falls just 4-3 against teams in the playoff field. Now, the only postseason team they haven't played in the regular season is Tucson, and that's who they meet for the first time ever today in the opening round. The IFL playoffs, the Sugar Skulls, respect to that logo, and you had to respect them early on. They were up 6-0 until Kaylin Campbell sweeps into the end zone from 2 yards. It's 7-6 Sioux Falls after a low-scoring first quarter. Tucson misses a field goal in the second. That opens the door for the Storm to extend their lead on 4th and goal from the 2. Lorenzo Brown takes a shot, gets into the end zone, though. By the way, if you're wondering, Chris Dixon was not suited up, not active just yet. Storm go up 13-6. Sugar Skulls have an answer. Jake Medlock, a bomb to Jared Brown, and Tucson goes out in front 14-13. On the ensuing Storm possession, Curtis Riggs goes right back to Brown on the ground. He'll take a cutback and go 5 yards for the score as Sioux Falls takes a 20-14 lead. However, in the final seconds of the half, Tucson not going away. They march all the way from their own 1-yard line and go ahead on Medlock's second touchdown pass to Brown. 21-20 Tucson at the break. It's coming down to the wire at the Premier Center. Storm hanging on to a 2-point lead. We'll update you and show you how that finishes and have highlights tonight at 10 o'clock. Also, the winner of that game will head to Iowa next week for the United Conference Championship. Though we're still about 12 weeks away from the kickoff of the 2019 Minnesota Vikings football season, it's certainly been easy to look ahead since many of their players have spent the last few weeks in Sioux Falls at charity events, which of course included Kyle Rudolph, whom the team re-signed after initially looking like they might cut or trade him. It's continuing a trend for Minnesota that has seen them re-sign almost all of their key players and core unit. This despite last year's disappointing 8-7-1 campaign. Though there have been other changes to the coaching staff with the addition of Gary Kubiak and new full-time offensive coordinator Kevin Stefanski, the players we've spoken to have made it clear they believe that keeping the continuity will help the Vikings move closer to their Super Bowl goal and past last year's disappointment.
Obviously, we have a new offense, and we got some things we got to do, things we got to clean up, things we got to learn. But you know, we're all doing it together, and we know how great we can be.
I feel like we have a championship culture. We have guys that have bought into things that we want to do as a football team, and now we just have to continue to get better throughout this offseason, and now we'll get a little bit of time off and come back in training camp ready to work.
It's a win now mentality, and we know we have a lot of good players, and some of those players, you know, potentially could have left this offseason. They didn't, and we've retained them, and so we're all pretty pumped to be together.
The Vikings will report to training camp in Eagan in a little over a month and hold their first practice on July 26th. Though the Minnesota Twins lead the AL Central with 50 wins and the Kansas City Royals are in the basement with 51 losses, you wouldn't know it based on their meetings. All 8 of the games between the two have been decided by 3 runs or less. The series finale of their 4-game road series this afternoon, both teams wearing Negro League throwback uniforms. And it was Kansas City looking right at home in the 3rd inning off Michael Pineda. That's Alex Gordon, the longtime Royal, with an RBI double. As Kansas City takes a 2-0 lead, and they'd only up it a few batters later when Hunter Dozier exits stage left, 3-run shot. Pineda only gave up 5 runs. Unfortunately, they all came in that inning, and the Royals were in control, up 5-0. The bright spot for the Twins, Eddie Rosario pokes his 20th home run of the season, just over that right field wall to make it 5-1. Minnesota, though, would not get any closer thanks to Homer Bailey, who's somehow still in Major League Baseball. He worked 5 1/3, and the Twins fall 6-1. Canaries in Sioux City, I can update this, that's just been suspended due to all the rain. They have a 3-0 lead. They'll pick this game up later in the year. We're going to show you the highlights of what the Canaries have already done. They got up 3-0. We'll show you that at 10. And finally, as you saw right here on KDLT, final round of the Women's PGA Championship, Sun Hunt Park trailing by 2 to Hannah Green here on 18. Needs this birdie to have a shot, and she is clutch. That gets her to within 1 stroke, and it looked like she might send it to a playoff because Green had a tough shot out of the bunker. Gets a nice sand save, then she comes up needing this par to win the championship. And it is true as Hazeltine celebrates with her. Hannah Green goes wire to wire to win the Women's PGA Championship at 9 under par. We'll be back in 1 moment.